Haruna Idrisu is the minority leader.
Speaker of Parliament settles lingering confusion over which party in Parliament holds the leadership of the majority side as the issue once again left the House divided. And top story is always brought to you by Gasim Cement, the nation builder. Vodafone, the future is exciting, ready as well as Belacqua mineral water. In the last few minutes, it has emerged that the Electoral Commission has processes a preliminary legal objection at the Supreme Court, asking the court to dismiss John Dramani Mahama's election petition, arguing that, quote, the petition does not merit a trial and it is a total waste of the court's time. I want to get into the details of this, which is just coming to light in the last few minutes. I want to bring in court correspondent Joseph Akablay. Joseph, so this is a pretty strong position that the Electoral Commission is taking, and has, of course, taking appropriate steps to file this in court with this preliminary legal objection. What arguments is the Electoral Commission putting forward in this objection to back their conclusion that John Mahama is wasting the court's time?
Each legal argument that the electoral filed a short while ago, it is in line with the directives that the court gave on January 20 that indicated, among other things, that on Friday, by close of day, the respondents in the case and the other parties for that matter should file their legal arguments in relation to the initial objection that has been raised by the Electoral Commission and President Akufo-Addo's legal team. Both sides had said that the petition does not merit a full trial. Now, the EC in this document says the whole petition is based on extreme speculations. And these speculations thrive on two assumptions. The first being that the petition, according to the EC, is that Mr. Mahama holds on to the wrong figure mentioned as valid votes during the EC chair's declaration. That is a figure of 13.4 million that was mentioned by the EC commissioner, and that the EC says it was inadvertent. The second assumption that the EC explains is that Mr. Mahama assigns all the Techiman South votes to himself. The commission insists that Mr. Mahama, in his own documents, in terms of the attachments, attached the actual results of Techiman South constituency. And so the EC says he still goes on to assume that should all the votes be attached to his, he will not. No one gets more than 50% of the votes cast. The commission insists that the vote is known and was known to Mr. Mahama at the time he filed the petition. The commission states that the 13.4 million mentioned as total valid votes is an error. Nana Akufo-Addo, the EC insists, obtained 6.7 million, representing more than 50% of the 13.1 million, which it says is the actual figure, not the 13.4 million. And so the commission goes on to state in a document that because of these two issues, i.e. the petition thriving on two false assumptions, that one, the wrong figure should still be used even though the right figure is known, and still adding all Techiman South votes even though the Techiman South results are known, the EC says that it does not disclose any serious issue that should merit a trial. It goes on to say that in terms of the alleged vote pardon that was mentioned, the petition does not even disclose how that vote pardon affected the outcome of the election results. And so the EC concludes that the petition does not merit a trial and it's a total waste of the court's time and should be dismissed as soon as possible.
And you also see there that the Electoral Commission deploys some strong adjectives. For example, he says these are the petitioner's imaginary facts, and the facts as you've laid out, Joseph, petitioner's imaginary facts on which this whole action is built, and that is what you've laid out. The EC describes them as imaginary facts, and it goes on to conclude My Lord, it is for the above reasons that we invite the Honorable Court to dismiss the petition. We further submit that the facts as pleaded does not disclose a reasonable course of action. The petition does not merit a trial, and it's a total waste of the court's time. And this, we understand, has been filed today. Joseph, there were a series of things that the court asked all sides to file with clear timelines. We know what the NDC did yesterday. Just for those who may be coming to this anew, yesterday the NDC, walk us through the timelines and what the NDC was supposed to do yesterday, that we understand they have filed a different process and may possibly have not complied with the court order with the deadline close of day yesterday.
So in terms of the directives that were issued by the court on the 20th of January when it sat, it did indicate that the petitioner and witnesses shall file witness statements with exhibits by noon of Thursday, 21st of January 2021. And it makes the point that these statements shall be served on the counsel for the respondents by close of day on Thursday, 21st of January 2021. Then it goes on to say that the respondents and their witnesses, if any, shall file their witness statements with exhibits, if any, by close of day on 22nd January 2021. Now, the indication we got, and if you recall, when these directives were given by the court, Mr. Chikata told the court that they had some concerns because first, the notice was short in that it did not allow them enough time to prepare the witness statement. Also, he made reference to the fact that they had some outstanding issues. The first relates to they filing a review of the court's decision not to allow them subject the Electoral Commission chairperson to some 12 questions. Again, they say that in terms of the request that they have made for the EC chairperson to admit to certain 18 facts, if not obtain the response, there is also a bit about the need to inspect and run copies of documents in the custody of the Electoral Commission. That has not been complied with. So Mr. Chikata made a point in open court that they needed all these things in order to prepare and finish up the witness statements. The NDC, as you pointed out, told us in terms of their legal team that they've not filed these witness statements because they filed a stay of proceedings. A stay of proceedings is to simply ask the court that, look, I've filed for a review, asking you to take a second look at your decision not to allow me subject the EC chairperson to some 12 questions. Before that is determined, which is actually due on Thursday, don't proceed to hear the matter on Tuesday. Put it on hold, because when you proceed to hear the matter on Tuesday, whatever takes place will result in us suffering irreparable harm that cannot be remedied. I.e., in the event on Thursday, the court decides that the earlier panel, the smaller panel, the 7-member panel was wrong when it decided not to allow the NDC subject, the Mr. Mohammed's team subject to the Electoral Commission to the 12 questions. It will mean that whatever had transpired would have affected the nature and form of their case. And so the NDC's position is that, no, they are not filing the witness statement because of the state that they have filed. And on Tuesday, they intend to bring to the attention of the court the fact that they wanted to put its proceedings on hold. The indication we got from the other parties in the case was that they are going ahead to comply with this particular directive with the Electoral Commission. It's in that light that the EC has proceeded to file its legal arguments as was ordered by the court, urging the court to dismiss the petition.
Joseph, thank you very much. And if you're just joining us, the Electoral Commission is asking the Supreme Court to dismiss John Mahama's election petition, arguing that the petition is, quote, a total waste of the court's time. Of course, we're just learning about this in the last few minutes. We'll get you further breakdown of what this will mean for the case itself as we approach next week when all the lawyers are expected back into court for the proceedings to continue. I want to take it to Parliament now, where we are keeping a close eye on developments there. And tonight, it is settled. The leader of the MPP side in Parliament is the majority leader. Sounds simple enough, but this has left Parliament divided since newly elected MPs were sworn in 2 weeks ago. Now, Speaker Alban Babing had attempted a ruling on the matter before, but that did not settle the confusion. Today, it resurfaced, and once again left Parliament divided. Listen to Majority Chief Whip Arnold Domprey complaining about the confusion on the floor today.
Speaker, I thank you for your kindness, and Speaker, I'm relying on your good wisdom for your guidance on this matter I wish to raise. Ordinarily, I wouldn't have spoken to it, but it's important to set the record straight. My good friend, the Honorable Ablakwa.
For the guidance of which matter? Which matter?
Speaker, I'm raising the matter with your kindness.
You are to raise a new matter.
No, it's a matter the Honorable Ablakwa and the Honorable Suhini brought into work, and I wish to speak to it. And the matter is simple, Speaker. The Honorable Ablakwa and the Honorable Suhini seem to have a well-rehearsed strategy to refer to the majority caucus as the majority group. I heard him loud and clear. And I heard the Honorable Suhini also repeated that. Speaker, I'm employing you to advise my colleagues to refer to us indeed as the majority caucus, as Speaker you rightly ruled. And I pray they take a cue from that directive from your good self, Speaker.
So the Speaker of Parliament, Abang Babin, was then forced to be absolutely categorical on the matter.
Honourable members, please kindly take your time and read the standing orders. We have parliamentary parties in the House, 2 parliamentary parties with 1 independent member. The independent member opted to associate with 1 parliamentary party, and he is only associating with them to transact business. So when you add the independent member to the MPP parliamentary party, the 2 form a group, and that is why in my ruling I refer to it as majority parliamentary group. The term caucus is not used in our standing orders. It is in practice, and it refers to an identified group of people. So you can have a regional caucus, you can have a gender caucus, you can have a Catholic caucus. There's so many caucuses, but you have parliamentary parties. For us, in the A Parliament, there are 2 parliamentary parties. The NDC parliamentary party, in your constitution, sometimes they refer to it as parliamentary wing of the party, and then the MPP parliamentary party. But with the 1 independent, they form the majority parliamentary group. I don't want any more confusion on this matter. The standing orders further provides that the majority group will be led by a leader, and that leader is referred to as majority leader. And Order 160 and Order 168 demands that those committees, the business committee and the House committees, be chaired by the majority leader. That is the standing orders we have now, and I'm guided by that. I'm bound by it anyway. So please, don't keep confusing the public. So the Honorable Oseche Mensah Bonsu is the majority leader. The Honorable Haruna Idrisu is the minority leader.
Let's go to Parliament now. My parliamentary correspondent, Joseph Gakpo, is on the line. First, Joseph, did both sides of the House accept the Speaker's ruling, which he says is supposed to be final?
There was virtually no reaction from the leaders on both sides. Haruna Idrisu and Chairman Sabonto. So they all just sat in their chairs, and after the Speaker made the pronouncement, business continued. There was a loud cheering from those on the majority side in response to the Speaker's ruling, while the minority side were virtually silent. But it looks like they'd all seen it coming, because for several days now, repeatedly on the floor, Speaker Alban Babin kept referring to Haruna Idrisu as the minority leader of Sechi Mensah as the majority leader and referring to the NDC side as the minority and the MPP side as the majority. So everyone was clear in their mind that any time the speaker was asked to make a definite pronouncement on this was obviously what he was going to say.
And I'm curious, the majority chief whip complained about something. What was it? Give us a context.
He made the point that there was a clear strategy on the part of some of the minority MPs, including Samuel Okujeto-Ablakwa and Hassan Suhini, to repeatedly refer the leader on their side by a name that he shouldn't be referred by, and them refusing to, as in the NDC side, refusing to admit that they constitute the minority. And so that was the reference that he had. The majority have said he had seen very conscious efforts on their part to not refer to themselves as what they are and what is seen in the standing orders in terms of a majority side and a minority side, and a majority leader and a minority leader, which he thought shouldn't continue. The speaker was invited to rule on that because the MPs on the NDC side decided an apology with a reference to an orchestrated attempt, but eventually the speaker ruled that no ill motive was impugned and so the conversation should continue.
Okay, and one of the individuals mentioned on that floor in this another complaint is Samuel Okujeto-Ablakwa. Have you been speaking to him? What has been his reaction?
He says the speaker has settled the matter and going forward, they are all going to abide by the speaker's directive, except that for him, there are more important issues that the nation should be focusing attention on than the majority and minority designation.
The speaker has ruled on that matter. The speaker has ruled.
Are you comfortable with it? Will you be ready to refer to yourselves now as the minority group and them as the majority?
The speaker has ruled on that matter, and the speaker's ruling must be respected. And if you look at Standing Order 5 and Standing Order 6, these are matters that are placed entirely and squarely in the bosom of the speaker. And the Right Honourable Speaker has delivered his ruling. And I think that it is a sound ruling that when you add, it's a hung parliament. If you refer to MPP, NDC, there is no minority majority, 137, 137. But the independent candidate held sway. So once he has not joined, the word is associate. Because you remember that Article 97H does not allow an independent candidate to join. When you do that, you lose your seat. So if anytime he's doing business with the MPP, they become the majority group. They wanted to be referred to as the majority party or majority caucus. But as the speaker has said, it's group. Looking at Standing Order 7, so far as majority leader is concerned. It's the group. There is no, if you're referring to MPP, NDC, we are par. There is no majority, there is no minority. But once you bring in the group to recognize the independent candidate who is associating with them to do business, that becomes majority group. They don't seem comfortable with the expression group, but that's the speaker's ruling. They are not, because you are 137, we are 137. What makes you a majority? You understand? It's only when you become a group, when the independent candidate is associating with them, is doing business with them, then they become a group. So that's the speaker's ruling. I think that this matter should be settled.
Thankfully, we can speak to Muntaka Mubarak, MP for Asawase. He is, I guess now I can call him the minority chief whip. Hello, Mr. Mubarak. Thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Good evening to you and your listeners.
I must confess, this confusion was very difficult for us, even as journalists, because on radio, you're struggling to say majority leader, minority caucus. It's settled now, is it not? I mean, I can simply call you Haruna Idrisu minority leader and you minority chief whip.
Well, the speaker has made the ruling, and like my colleague Ablakwa said, look at our standing orders 5 and 6. 5 is talking about when there's doubt. And then 6 is talking about where the standing orders have not made provision for such a thing. The speaker can then make his own ruling. And if you look at our standing orders, I mean, even though the speaker has made rulings, I disagree with him on some of the things that he said, because the definition of majority is explicitly stated in our standing orders in Order 7. That says that it is the party or parties. It did not include independent. But if now speakers and our standing orders have not made provision for where you could add an independent, So maybe he is adding him and therefore calling them majority. Fine, but he's made a ruling, and we have to respect the ruling. But it opens up for another argument. The Constitution in Article 96 says that the deputy speakers must not come from the same party. So if you, by the influence of Mr. Speaker, group, two deputy speakers come from the same group, this is something that we will have to take up and probably get an interpretation in court. Because the Constitution is very clear that two of the deputy speakers cannot come from the same party. The only way you can have them to majority of 138 is when you add the independent, which in this case the Speaker has added. So if they accept that the Speaker has added the independent to your number to give them 138 and therefore give them majority, then we have a problem. Then they can't have two of the deputy speakers from the same group. So this is the next tug of war. Maybe the Speaker may have to, and unfortunately in this sense, the Speaker doesn't interpret the Constitution because one is constitutional provision, and our standard orders just copy them verbatim. So in this end, maybe we have to go for interpretation because we can't have two deputy speakers coming from the same group. And so maybe asking, are you not people trivializing all the things that is happening in Parliament instead of concentrating to do the work? No, because you see, because of the structure of our Constitution and for that matter, our country, where winner takes everything, the moment you are majority, based on the current standing orders, you chair all committees, with the exception of, in the case of subsidiary legislation and then public accounts. You have to chair everything. And in all these committees where you have, say, 25, 31, the additional one comes to you. But my worry is we are working on the new standing orders. And a lot of the committees, we are working very hard to make sure that they are not even, they are odd. When they are odd, you have close to 40 committees. And then in each of the committees, because the Speaker has declared the majority, and they then demand that even where we chair the committee, the additional one, so when it is 15, we will take 8 and you take 7. By the time you put all the committees together, I'm talking about the space in the committees. If the total number is, say, 400, and we are in a ratio of 50-50, where both sides needed to have 200, you end up having the one that have been declared majority going to get, say, maybe 220 or 230, and then those that have been declared minority will end up having 170. And that is where the problem is. So I can bet you the Speaker has made this ruling. We have to respect it because, I mean, it is closed with the standard orders to make the ruling. But that ruling opens up for other difficulties because, like I said, the Deputy Speaker, and then when we come to the committees, in terms of the numerical numbers that we have to share, we are going to be heavily disadvantaged because, like I said, if it is 400 and you are 138, we are 137, and we are going to share. And by virtue of you having 111 in each of the committee, that gives you an advantage of over 40, say, committees, 40 numerical strength space in the committee over us. You are going to squeeze us, the 137, and allow more room for the 138. And that is the cause of some of the argument that or challenges that we've been having all this while. So it's only going to open us to more difficulties.
So practically going forward, I mean, two committees have already been set up: Appointments Committee and then the Business Committee. And Appointments Committee is split down the middle. But now that this ruling had come, it's your fear that what going forward, all the other committees, one they are majority.
See, in the current standard orders, Evans, in the current standard orders, with the exception, say, Finance Committee, the Committee on Profit Holding, some few committees that are what we call odd numbers. Majority of our committees in Parliament in the current standard orders are even. So it takes Health Committee is 20, Business Committee is 20, Mines and Energy is 18. Those ones, if you are going to apply the formula, the 50-50, sharing like you've done with the Appointments Committee 13-13, the Business Committee 10-10, the Selection Committee 10-10. I can say it.
Yes.
So that will not be there. But in our new standard orders, all of us have recognized that the committees needs to be odd, unless because of this we are all going to then agree, which I know now that our colleagues have been mentioned majority, they will cling to it and say that no, let's keep to our original thinking that all the committees should be odd.
So what you're saying is that now that it's odd,
or 15 or 17, and if they are odd, say for example they are 13, if they are 13, they say, oh, we've been declared majority. So what it will mean is that it's supposed to be 6-6, and then left. Since we are majority, then we'll take the additional one. So for every committee that is odd, they are going to have one advantage. But in the previous arrangement before the speaker's ruling, our argument was that fine, if we have 4 15-member committees, 2 of them you take 8 and we'll take 7, and the other 2 will also take 8, you take 7, because our strength is the same. But now that they've been declared majority, I know they are going to cling to it and insist that wherever there's one additional seat, it should rather come to them.
So
when that happens, by the time you put all the committees together, we will be heavily disadvantaged.
Yeah, I mean, so with these fundamental challenges that this firm ruling today throws up, I guess the question that remains is, what is it that your side plan to do about this in the House first? You at least hinted that part of it might even end up in the Supreme Court. But before that, what do you plan to do about it? Because the committees has to be formed in the next few days.
Yes, sure. So we've given ourselves by next week Friday this time we should have a new standard on this. So I'm sure, fortunately, I'm a member of the small group that have been set up to clean up the standard orders. So let's see how it rolls. But I know every one of us, whether we or them, are going to go into this standard orders cleanup with this in mind. But like I said, all the proposals that we've done in the new standard orders before now anticipated that all the committees of parliament, we must try as much as well to make them what we call odd. So when I say odd, they should be either 9 or 11 or 13 or 15 or 17 or 19. We should not go to the 20, the 18 as we currently have. So when that happens, if we don't change that because of maybe trying to work together and build consensus, and we stick to it, and I know it's most likely our colleagues now they've been declared majority, will stick to it. And when they do that, what it will mean is that at the end of the day, this ruling would surely put those of us in minority now in a heavy, heavy disadvantage.
I'm grateful that you joined me, Muntaka Mubarak, on this raging subject of who majority and minority is. As of tonight, it has been settled. The MPP side is a majority group in the House with the majority leader. Let me bring in Dr. Rashid Rahman with the Africa Parliamentary Centre. Dr. Rahman, Parliament should move on, should it not?
Well, Parliament should move on, but Evans, I'm very happy to hear that they are going to sort this long overdue revision of the standing orders by next week Friday, and I think I would urge them honestly, because now they have to take advantage and resolve all these issues. Otherwise, as I've heard from your 2 honourable members, one issue would open a Pandora's box. By the time you finish fixing that, another issue comes up. And the opportunity they have now, I think, is to deal decisively with most of the issues that they are faced with now in the revised standing orders.
Dr. Draman, thank you very much. And of course, this is an issue that is pretty much still unfolding, with the new standing orders still about to be concluded for the entire House to agree on. I'm sure when it gets to that completion point, a lot will become even more clear. But as of tonight, don't hesitate. It is the majority leader, Evans Mensah, minority leader, Haruna Idrisu. The NDC side in the House is the minority party in the parliament, and the MPP side is the majority side in the parliament. The speaker has settled it. This is Top Story. Ghana Connect starts right now.